But now you go to Dallas, and they went from being 3 games above 500 at the trade time to 3 games under with you. The offensive rating, ranking in the league, worse. The defensive rating, worse since you've been there. And now that D'Angelo Russell, short sample size, but might be working out with the Lakers, I don't know where you're getting that bag from next year. So there's one way to fix it, Kyrie. Go out and get big. Look, defense, rebounding, shooting, locker room speeches, whatever you have to do, you've got to get this Dallas Mavericks team into the play-in to save face for your man Nick Wright.
The Dallas Mavericks were hovering around the 4th spot in the West before they traded for Kyrie Irving. But since his arrival, things just quickly went south for them as they've now slid out of the play-in contention, clawing to make their way back into the playoffs. The Mavs have literally sacrificed their defense to boost their offense, but so far, the Kyrie Irving experiment has not been panning out the way they hoped it would. I mean, look here. Down by 3, Luka initially gave the ball to Kyrie so he could take the last shot. However, Kyrie hesitated and was like, "You take it." And Luka was also like, "No, you take it." And in the end, the Mavs didn't get a shot up, which cost them the game. Now, we can argue that Kyrie hasn't yet been able to build chemistry with his new teammates, and that's why they're struggling right now. But the way they played the last few games, especially with the back-to-back loss against a Hornets team who are missing their 3 best players, I think the Mavs should sound the alarm bell real quick. Now, the question is this a Kyrie Irving problem or a Mavs problem? Well, turns out it's kinda a bit of both. See, in the big picture, the real problem with the Mavs right now is their inability to play defense. Even before the trade took place, they were really not that good defensively. But it became much worse when they traded away Dorian Finney-Smith, who was their best all-around perimeter defender, in exchange for Kyrie. I mean, their defense is so bad right now that they just gave away free buckets during their head-scratching loss against the Charlotte Hornets. Look here, you can see here that there are 5 white shirts running along with the Hornets in this transition attack. But somehow, the Hornets were able to squeeze out a pass so easily as if their defense didn't exist. Now, in this other fast break attack, the Hornets kicked the ball out to Hayward. But instead of closing out, Kyrie was like, "Nah, I'm too lazy to get out there." And in return, Hayward made them pay by drilling this 3-ball. And the same thing here. Hayward draws the defense, and after kicking it out to PJ Washington in the corner, the entire Dallas Mavericks squad just looked on and didn't even bother to show any kind of effort to contest the shot. See, before the trade, they were a pretty decent defensive team, but as you can see in this graphic here, their defensive efficiency went down, as did their other stats such as field goal percentage, second chance points, points in the paint, and now the Mavs are currently registering a 116.3 defensive rating, which ranks 22nd in the league. Anyways, now that we've discussed the Mavs' main problem as a whole, let's now turn to Kyrie Irving and talk about why his partnership with Luka Doncic is not working. In the 14 games where they've played together so far this season, the Mavs are just 4-10 in total. But despite this early setback, Mavs GM Nico Harrison remains positive and still believes that this is just a pace that Kyrie has to go through in order to be better. And he even said in a recent statement that the sky is the limit for these two, while comparing their potential to a Ferrari and a monster truck. See, Harrison wasn't lying when he said this. I mean, you got 2 of the most prolific scorers right now in the league playing in the same uniform who can explode for a 30 and 40 piece on any given night. But the thing is, they're also 2 ball-dominant guards who need the ball in their hands most of the time for them to flourish. And so far, these two aren't gelling quite well, and they still can't decide on who's going to take over in terms of scoring and who's the one that's going to step back. Back then, Luka was solely in charge of ball handling duties, but now that he got another shot creator / playmaker in Kyrie, there are times when Luka will just stand around and watch Kyrie do his thing. Here's what I mean. See, Luka is not used to being the spot-up guy, and in this play, he had no choice but to watch Kyrie force the issue here by taking a tough fadeaway. And when you take a closer look, Kyrie didn't even notice that Luka was actually wide open in the wing after he drew 2 defenders. This is just one example that indicates there's something wrong with their dynamics on the offensive end. And aside from this, here's another. Again, Luka just let Kyrie do his thing on this play, and when he was about to take the shot, you can see that the defense actually opened up, as Luka is open at the top, and so is Wood on the wing. But still, Kyrie forces this one up and takes a tough fall away, which he missed. Anyways, to make this relationship work, I think Luka should be the primary ball handler because he's the better decision maker, and as for Kyrie, I think he'll be more effective if he transitions to an off-ball role and focuses more on scoring. I mean, here's what I'm talking about. Here's Luka surveying the floor at the left wing, and look at Kyrie here, doing some off-ball action. Now, after he frees himself and goes backdoor, Luka quickly recognizes him cutting inside, and Kyrie just did what he does best, and that is finishing around the rim. Same thing here. Look at the flow of the Mavs offense. If Luka is the one setting up the table, and after going through 2 pin-down screens, Luka easily locates Kyrie on the run to hit this three-pointer on top of the key. This is just one aspect that they need to change in order for both Kyrie and Luka to build the right chemistry at this crucial stage of the season. Now, as much as I want to keep my hopes up on Kyrie, we all know that he has a complicated history that is marred with controversies, and I also believe that he's not really known as a player who contributes to winning as much as people think. I mean, take a look at this ice-cold take.
Drafted number 1 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. You would think that Kyrie would really make some noise in Cleveland, but without LeBron James, he never did. A 34% winning percentage without LeBron James. So truth be told, Kyrie in Cleveland, well, losing followed him. Well, cut 2, he leaves Cleveland. He goes to Boston. In Boston, you would think he's joining up with Tatum. He's joining up with Brown. He's joining up with Marcus Smart. Winning will be there, surely. But that's not the case. You see, with Kyrie, they lost in the semis. But when Kyrie didn't play, the first year he was there, they went to the conference finals. And then after Kyrie departed to Brooklyn, they once again went to the conference finals. Well, speaking of Brooklyn, let's get there. Kyrie's in Brooklyn. Surely Kyrie, Kevin Durant, we think it's going to go great, right? Wrong. Kyrie Irving, his first year in Brooklyn, they had a better percentage when he did not play. His second year in Brooklyn, identical winning percentage when he did play. His third year, his fourth year in Brooklyn, they are better when Kyrie Irving does not play. It is a simple observation that losing follows Kyrie like the dawn follows the night. I am just presenting the information, but you all do with it what you will.
Anyways, I'm not saying that the Mavs will not get over this hump. I mean, Kyrie Irving is probably the most gifted scorer in the NBA right now. And if he manages to figure things out with Luka Doncic, there's no doubt that the Mavs are going to be a handful to deal with in the future. If they don't fix their number one problem, which is their defense, I think the Kyrie trade will bite them on the rear end, because that trade was supposed to help Luka in terms of carrying the scoring load. But from the looks of things, it seems that the only thing that Kyrie will help carry are the Mavs' traveling bags, because they're about to buy a one-way vacation ticket to Cancun this summer,